Faith Kipyegon, 32 years old, born barefoot in a Kenyan farming village, now the most decorated female middle-distance runner alive. And on July 4th, she is coming for a record that has survived every great woman runner on Earth for 38 years. No one has come close. She is about to end that. Faith Chepngetich Kipyegon was born on January 10, 1994, in Bomet County, Kenya. She grew up as the 8th of 9 children on a farm in Ndababit, a hilly village in the Rift Valley. Her father, Samuel Kipyegon Koech, was a 400-meter and 800-meter runner in his youth. Her older sister, Beatrice Mutai, became a long-distance specialist in the 10-kilometer and half marathon. Running was already in the family. Faith just had not found it yet. She played football as a child. Then, at 14 years old, her physical education teacher set up a 1-kilometer race. Kipyegon ran it. She outpaced the rest of her class by a wide margin. That single race changed the direction of her life. She began training under coach Charles Ngeno. Getting to him meant running 10 kilometers from where she lived. Some days she covered 30 kilometers before a training session had even started. There were days when she had nothing, no food, no transport. Her coach would call local shops to make sure she could eat. She attended Winners Girls High School in Karinget and kept running, kept building. Her parents were so far removed from the world of international athletics that when she won Olympic gold in Rio de Janeiro in 2016, they could not watch. They had no electricity at home. She made her international debut at 16, competing barefoot at the 2010 World Cross Country Championships in Poland. She was the youngest finisher in the top 21. A year later, she won individual gold at the World Cross Country Junior Race in Spain. Then came the 1,500-meter title at the World Youth Championships in France, where she broke the championship record with a time of 4 minutes and 9.48 seconds. A farming village in Kenya had produced something the sport had never quite seen. Between 2016 and 2025, Faith Kipyegon built one of the most dominant championship records in the history of women's athletics. At the Rio Olympics in 2016, she won gold in the 1,500 meters. At the Tokyo Olympics in 2021, she defended that title with a new Olympic record of 3 minutes and 53.11 seconds. At the Paris Olympics in 2024, she did it again, a third consecutive Olympic gold in the 1,500 meters, crossing in 3 minutes and 51.29 seconds, smashing her own Olympic record by nearly 2 full seconds. No woman in history had won 3 straight Olympic golds in the 1,500 meters. Kipyegon made it look like she had done it 1,000 times. Her 4 World Championship titles came in 2017, 2022, 2023, and 2025. Of the last 6 major global championships dating back to 2016, she missed gold in the 1,500 meters only once, in 2019, just 15 months after giving birth to her daughter Alan in June 2018. When she returned from maternity leave, she was afraid. She later said, "I was so afraid maybe I will not come back. I will just disappear. I thought it was the end of my career, but it was the beginning." She went back to training in Kaptagat, Kenya, under coach Patrick Sang, the same camp where marathon world record holder Eliud Kipchoge trains, a group of around 30 athletes who live together and share chores. For each of her world record attempts, she wore a bracelet on her wrist engraved with her daughter's name. In 2023, she did something no woman had ever done. In a single season, she broke 3 separate world records: the 1,500 meters, the 5,000 meters, and the mile. The mile world record, 4 minutes and 7.64 seconds, was set at the Diamond League meet in Monaco. That time still stands. It is the fastest official mile any woman has ever run, and it is the time that makes everything happening on July 4th possible. She is nicknamed the Smiling Destroyer. Watch her race and you understand why immediately. She moves through championship fields with a calm that looks like ease and a finish that arrives like a truck. Her 1,500-meter world record of 3 minutes and 48.68 seconds was set at the 2025 Prefontaine Classic, her 10th appearance at that stage. On July 3rd and 4th, 2026, she returns to Hayward Field in Eugene, Oregon for her 11th appearance. The Prefontaine Classic women's mile meet record was set in 1988 by American runner Mary Slaney. Her time of 4 minutes and 21.25 seconds has sat untouched for 38 years. The women's mile event was not even contested at the pre-classic after 1993. That is 33 years where this race did not exist at this stage. Now it is back, and the reason it is back is standing in a training camp in Kenya right now. Slaney's 4 minutes and 21.25 seconds is not just a meet record, it is a relic from an entirely different era of the sport. Kipyegon's current world record is 4 minutes and 7.64 seconds. The gap between Kipyegon's world record and Slaney's 38-year-old benchmark is 13.61 seconds. Kipyegon runs faster than Slaney's mark every time she steps onto a track for the mile. Every single time. This meet record will fall on July 4th. Nobody is debating that. The only debate is how far below it Kipyegon goes. The 4-minute question beneath the meet record sits a much bigger story. In June 2025, Nike organized an unofficial event in Paris called Breaking 4. The goal was straightforward and almost impossible. Faith Kipyegon, attempting to become the first woman in history to run a mile in under 4 minutes. She needed to cut 7.65 seconds from her own world record, a gap that had seemed beyond human reach for women's athletics. Nike and Kipyegon's team left nothing to chance. 13 pacemakers surrounded her on the track. She wore a custom one-of-a-kind speed suit and first-of-its-kind spikes. Paris was selected because its time zone sits just 1 hour ahead of Kenya, close enough that her internal body clock would not feel any disruption. Everything that science could control, they controlled. She ran 4 minutes and 6.42 seconds. That time was faster than her own official world record. It did not count because the event was an exhibition. The custom spikes had not been submitted for World Athletics approval ahead of the race. When she crossed the finish line, she went down onto her back. A Kenyan flag was draped over her. She told the crowd, "Exhausted. I'm tired, but I feel good I've tried. I've proven that it is possible. Possible." That single word matters now more than ever. On July 4th at Hayward Field, Faith Kipyegon steps onto an official Diamond League stage. The clock will count. Every split will be ratified. The world is asking if the athlete who ran 4:06 in a Paris exhibition can repeat that magic under the pressure of a real race. She remains 6.42 seconds from the 4-minute barrier, but she already knows her legs can get there. The difference now is that it will be real. For the first time in 33 years, the women's mile returns to the Prefontaine Classic. Mary Slaney's 38-year-old meet record will not survive the day. That is not a prediction. It is arithmetic. What remains uncertain is whether Kipyegon can close the gap toward 4 minutes without the lab-built gear and specialized pacemakers of an exhibition. She has won 12 global medals and broken world records across the globe. Training alongside Eliud Kipchoge, she understands what it means to chase the impossible. This is her 11th pre-classic. She knows the Hayward Field crowd and the fire in her lungs during the final 200 meters. The only difference this time is that the record she is chasing has been sitting since 1988. Faith Kipyegon started running barefoot to reach a coach 10 kilometers away. Her parents missed her early victories because they had no electricity. She returned from pregnancy when many thought her career was over, only to break 3 world records in a single season. She has already proven that 4 minutes is not a wall, it is a door. On July 4th, she is running at it again, for real this time.